Good morning, and welcome to the Savannah-Chatham Metropolitan Police Department's Meritorious Service Award Ceremony. I'm Michelle Gavin, the Community Relations Administrator. Today we'll be honoring dozens of officers, civilians, and members of this community who are committed to improving the safety and well-being of this city and county. 5 officers will receive Medals of Valor, the department's second highest honor. You will hear how they put their lives on the line to serve and protect the people of this community and to make sure their brothers in blue make it home to their families. 9 officers will be receiving the Medal of Distinction for putting themselves in extreme danger to rescue fellow officers and citizens who are in life-threatening situations. True heroes among us. 10 more officers will be awarded the Medal of Merit for their outstanding service, and 2 officers injured in the line of duty will receive a Purple Heart. As we begin today's ceremony, will all SCMPD employees please stand as we reaffirm our oath of honor to the citizens of Savannah and Chatham County. On my honor, I will never betray my office, my integrity, my character, or the public trust. I will always have the courage to hold myself and others accountable for our actions. I will always uphold the Constitution, my community, and the agency I serve. At this time, will everyone please stand for the invocation by SCMPD Chaplain Reverend Bill Gardner, and he will also bless the food.
Would you pray with me, please? Almighty God, we give you praise and honor on this Good Friday for who you are, our Creator, our Sustainer, and our Redeemer. And we would be remiss this afternoon if we did not lift up to you the families and loved ones whose lives have been ripped apart by the bombings of madmen in Brussels. We pray, O Lord, that you would be to these grieving families a refuge and a strength and a very present help in trouble. And now today, we want to honor those who have done good things. We are thankful to you for all who have given, all you have given them to do in their lives, and for the example set forth for all of us to emulate. We ask that you would put your hand of blessing on this meeting, and that you would guide our thoughts and actions as we recognize each of these for meritorious service. You are the source of all that is good. You are the source of all blessings. And so, bless, O Lord, these gifts which we are about to receive from thy bounty through Christ our Lord. Amen.
And please remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. You may be seated. I would now like to recognize some of our distinguished guests who are with us today, beginning with City of Savannah Mayor Eddie DeLoach, Alderwoman Carol Bell, if you'll just wave your hand up, Alderman Van Johnson, Bill Durrance, Julian Miller, Brian Foster, and Alderwoman Estella Shabazz. We also have County Commission Chairman Al Scott here with us today. Thank you so much, sir. As well as County Commissioners Tony Center and Helen Stone. County Manager Lee Smith is with us, as well as Assistant County Manager Michael Kegler. Members of our command staff, executive command staff, led by Chief of Police Joseph H. Lumpkin Sr., Major Richard Zapel, Captains Ben Herron, Charles Hall, Carl Ramey, Terry Shoup, and Ashley Brown. At this time, I would like to invite Mayor DeLoach up front to say a few words.
It's good. Is it good afternoon or good morning yet? I'm not sure. Anyway, I am here on behalf of the city of Savannah. In this audience, there's nothing I can really say to tell you how much we appreciate what you do for us on an everyday basis. I, as a businessman, go out every day with a group of men to do a job but I don't have to worry about whether that person's gonna come home or not. I'm sure it's amazing and it requires some amazing strength on your part, not only on the part of the actual officer, but the family that is with that officer, to realize that every day there's a possibility of that person not coming home. We're here to celebrate the fact that you are home. We're here to celebrate your bravery that many of us would not know how to even attempt to do, because we don't understand the process of running to danger rather than running from danger. But on the behalf of the city, I want to tell each one of you, we thank you for what you do. On behalf of the city, I want to tell the entire police force that not only are you appreciated, but you are also in our prayers every day, and want to make sure you know we appreciate everything you do. So thank y'all for being here, and thank y'all for what y'all do.
I would also like to invite Chatham County Commission Chairman Al Scott to say a few words on behalf of the county.
Good morning and welcome to all of you. It's an honor really to be here today to be part of the recognition of the 24 of you who will be receiving awards. And it's really, really meaningful to be here for the 2 of you who are receiving Purple Hearts. We understand and appreciate what you do on a daily basis. We are committed and dedicated to ensuring that all of Chatham County supports your efforts, even in the face of occasional unappreciative public. Please be assured that the leadership, Team Chatham, supports you 100%. We have with us today 2 of our commissioners who have been introduced, our Pro Tem, Commissioner Stone from the 1st District, and our 3rd District Commissioner Center, and I really appreciate them being here to share in this honor as well. And again, thank you for all that you do. And please do not hesitate to call on me if there's ever anything that I can do for you. Thank you so much.
It is now my pleasure to introduce our Chief of Police, Joseph H. Lumpkin, Sr. He is a 46-year law enforcement veteran and took command of the SCMPD in late 2014 after serving as police chief at 3 other agencies in Georgia. He was named Chief of the Year in 2014 and is highly respected by law enforcement heads across the globe through his continued leadership within the International Association of Chiefs of Police. A man of competence, character, and integrity. I'm going to get this out. It is my pleasure to introduce Chief Lumpkin.
Thank you, ma'am. On behalf of the outstanding men and women, sworn and civilian of the Savannah-Chatham Metropolitan Police Department, thank each and every one of you for investing your time in coming here today to celebrate our people. These are the men and women, and it's a team effort that protect this community 168 hours per week. We got a question the other day, Mr. Mayor, regarding a person wanting to know their police officer, their beat officers, as well as they know their postman. The postmen don't cover us 168 hours a week, and they have a better staffing ratio for those 8 to 16 hours that they try to cover. But we're going to get to know. Mr. Mayor and the chairman has spoke to the getting back to full staff. We brought folks in. We're going to be able to do a lot different shortly, but we still have 87 in training. We missed being at full staff by 2 last Monday, and we're going to find 2 certified officers to close that gap, because we're going to get to full staff very shortly. They have to be trained, but men and women that are in uniform and civilians, you've got help coming, and we can see the end of the light now. Thank you for what you do, the sworn staff members. Thank you for what you do every day. And thank those who are not present in this room, because they support those that are going to be recognized today. Thank you.
It is now my pleasure to welcome our keynote speaker, Mr. William Cathcart. He is a native of Rochester, New York, retired from WTOC TV in 2014 after 29 years, the last 24 as the station's vice president and general manager. He received his undergraduate degree from Hope College in Holland, Michigan, followed by his master's and PhD degrees from The Ohio State University. He then spent 10 years as a mass communication professor at Western Illinois University. Then, following 5 years in sales and management with a television station in an abundantly cold and snowy Austin, Minnesota, the Angel of Mercy, true to her name, brought Bill to the South, to Savannah and WTOC. Bill's Savannah area community involvement has been ample, including past board chair of Pooler's National Museum of the Mighty 8th Air Force, as well as longtime member of the Savannah Area Chamber of Commerce Board, where he has served as past chairman, and is currently its Military Affairs Council chair. He is a proud member of the 200 Club of the Coastal Empire, which provides immediate financial assistance to the family of police officers in our area who were killed in the line of duty. Bill continues to serve as the honorary wing commander of the Georgia Air National Guard 165th Airlift Wing here in Savannah, as well as being named an honorary member of the Hunter Army Airfield's 1st of the 75th Rangers, Hunter's 3rd of the 160th Night Stalkers, and the 3rd Infantry Division's Combat Aviation Brigade. In 2013, Bill was selected by the Department of Army to become the first civilian aide to the Secretary of the Army for the Coastal Georgia region, a position in which he continues to serve today. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my pleasure to welcome Mr. William Cathcart.
Thank you, Michelle. Chief Lumpkin, Meritorious Service Award honorees, officers, and staff of the Savannah-Chatham Metropolitan Police Department, Mayor DeLoach, Chairman Scott, other elected officials, families, and friends. In days of old, it was not uncommon to hear a listing of personality or character traits that very often included ones like the following: courage, honesty, integrity, responsibility, respect, dedication, trust, love of country, faith, and perhaps others of a similar nature, all reflecting and reinforcing the very best of how we expected fellow Americans to be and to act. Well, we should still expect that package of positive traits to fully exist within our midst today. Sadly, that's where too often now fantasy body slams reality. Oh, those traditional traits, those positive qualities once collectively assumed among our citizenry are still spoken of, but too often in hollow fashion, simply tossed out into the air for effect, devoid of substance, much like blowing bubbles, initially attractive and attention-getting, but then just as quickly vaporized, neither leaving or having any direction, meaning, or value. Now, before I lose you all to indigestion or despair, here's the good news about courage, dedication, honesty, and the rest of those solid character qualities. They, of course, and thankfully, still do exist individually within a great many Americans. They also very definitely exist collectively and are exhibited daily within two vitally important public sectors of our society. First, the men and women of our military, who selflessly and repeatedly put life and limb on the line to preserve our national security and freedom. And the second sector, now locally, our first responders, the brave men and women who also work tirelessly and selflessly to keep our communities safe, protecting and preserving individual rights, lives, and property. We gather today to honor and pay tribute to those who render invaluable service, whose dedication to the protection of our citizens is beyond question, as it should forever be. Those who stand against evil quite literally in the line of fire, the men and women who have volunteered to become the 24/7 life and property protective shield, police, fire, and medical. And today we single out and salute the first of that protective life and rights preserving triad, those without whom we simply could not begin to lead normal and safe lives, our amazing and dedicated law enforcement professionals. For it is they, like their colleagues, who continue to represent the very best of what's right in our community at a time when so much around us, so much of what we believed in and depended upon has seemingly become unmoored, leaving us now, it feels like we're more and more adrift in an uncharted, disturbing, sometimes downright frightening societal sea. In our search for continued safety and renewed stability, which at one time we could take so much for granted, it remains our sworn officers who still hold strong to those hopes, who still reflect and enforce the goodness, who still represent that which is right. Back in the 18th century, still pertinent today, perhaps more now than ever, British statesman Edwin Burke wrote, "The only thing necessary for evil to triumph is for good men, and now certainly good women, to do nothing." Speaking first nationally, for generations our military members have not only done something about evil when permitted to challenge it with requisite force, they've done so magnificently time and time again. And here at home, the same is true for our police officers. Protective and corrective actions are their calling card, often heroic and at personal risk, so that good, not evil, will triumph and prevail. Listen, if you will, to these impactful words committed to memory each year by a very select group of young Americans. Thank you for the honor and privilege you've afforded me to be with you on this very special day of tributes. And may I leave with you now with this one concluding thought and request, that we might all remain ever mindful of and ever grateful for the incredible privilege and the magnificent blessing it truly is to be an American. Thank you all very much. I'm back.
And now for the awards. Each officer and civilian receiving an award today was nominated by a member of the Savannah-Chatham Metropolitan Police Department. Each nomination was voted on by the department's award review committee, which is comprised of officers and civilians from all areas of the department and represents all ranks within the department as well as civilian representatives. Chief Lumpkin then gives the awards his final approval. Our award presentation will begin with honoring those citizens who are receiving the SCMPD's Citizen Award of Commendation. Our first Citizen Award of Commendation will go to Southside resident Mr. Daniel Cates. Last March, Mr. Cates was outside his home and heard a cry for help. He located a man injured on the ground who had been there for a few hours. He had fallen 35 feet from a ladder. He had severe injuries and could not move. Cates flagged down a police officer who happened to be patrolling in the area, and he also helped the officer and EMS stabilize the victim. Cates' willingness to help a man in need and aggressively flagging down an officer potentially saved this man's life and illustrates Cates' commitment to public safety in our community. Congratulations. Dr. Melanie Bevere. In 2015, Dr. Melanie Bevere, on behalf of the Greater Savannah Veterinary Medical Association, donated much-needed equipment to the SCMPD's K-9 unit. The donation included 5 collapsible crates and 6 tactical K-9 lanyards and leashes, costing a total of more than $4,000. That generosity illustrates her commitment to the Savannah-Chatham Metropolitan Police Department and to improving public safety in our community. And it is our pleasure to present her today with the Citizen Award of Commendation. Congratulations. John Meeks and Joseph Rowland. We are very lucky to have John Meeks and Joseph Rowland here today and lucky to have them in our community. Last March, Meeks and Rowland witnessed an officer struggling to assist a combative individual. That man was under arrest for driving 96 miles an hour in a 55-mile-an-hour zone. He was intoxicated and high on drugs. He was also suspected in a sex crime. The suspect was trying to get away. Meeks and Rowland asked the officer if he needed help, and the officer said yes. The two men physically helped the officer get the suspect on the ground and place him in handcuffs. Meeks and Rowland were willing to risk their own personal safety to help police get this dangerous man in custody. Their bravery and selflessness illustrates their commitment to improving public safety in our community, and we are proud to honor them with the Citizen Award of Commendation. Our next recipient, 14-year-old Tyquel Bryant, will receive the Chief's Outstanding Youth Award. One morning last June, officers and firefighters responded to a large fire at Westlake Apartments. Bryant lived in one of those homes. He ran out thinking his older brother was behind him, but he was not. He went in to go get him, but by now the fire had spread to the front door and could not get in. So he ran to the side and broke a window with his fist, went inside, and rescued his older brother. Seconds later, the entire home was fully engulfed in flames. They had just made it out. His bravery and selfless act makes him a role model for his peers and the Savannah-Chatham community, and it is our pleasure to present him with the Chief's Outstanding Youth Award. Now we will present the Medal of Merit to deserving officers. The Medal of Merit is awarded to any SCMPD officer for outstanding devotion to duty, which has a direct impact on improving the organization as a whole. Their actions must be exceptionally superior to the actions of officers of the same rank or assignment. This includes extraordinary acts of kindness, bravery, or service, improving the organization's performance, operation, or cost savings, or the successful or difficult prolonged police project or investigation. And our first Medals of Merit will go to Lieutenant Greg Ernst, Lieutenant Daniel Flood, Lieutenant Joy Gellatley, and Lieutenant Harry Trawick. In early 2015, the city of Savannah was faced with potential civic unrest in light of national events relating to shootings involving law enforcement officers. In order to ensure public safety in our community, several SCMPD lieutenants were tasked with devising and executing an operations and training plan. Lieutenant Flood led the SWAT operations, Lieutenant Harry Trawick prepared officers with mobile field force training, Lieutenant Greg Ernst oversaw patrol operations, and Lieutenant Joy Gellatley was assigned to manage the logistics. Lieutenant Greg Ernst was in charge of the staging area, coordinating with Red Cross and Georgia State Patrol. Lieutenant Greg Ernst, Chief Lumpkin will now present you with a Medal of Merit and Service Bar, an honor and recognition for exemplifying exceptional devotion to duty above and beyond the ordinary call of duty. Congratulations. Lieutenant Dan Flood led the SWAT operations, developing tactical training, making sure officers under his command understood the psychology of crowds and how to de-escalate situations. Lieutenant Flood, Chief Lumpkin now presents you with the Medal of Merit and Service Bar, an honor and recognition for exemplifying exceptional devotion to duty above and beyond the ordinary call of duty. Congratulations. Lieutenant Harry Trawick led the mobile field force operations, integrating 60 additional officers, SWAT, and 20 deputies into a cohesive tactical unit. Lieutenant Trawick, Chief Lumpkin now presents you with the Medal of Merit and Service Bar, an honor and recognition for exemplifying exceptional devotion to duty above and beyond the ordinary call of duty. Congratulations. Lieutenant Joy Gellatley, who managed all the logistical needs for the deployment of SCMPD officers and state troopers, including the food, protective gear, and munitions. She could not be here today. She is in orientation preparing to attend the FBI National Academy next month. So she will receive her award when she gets back. Next, APO Chris Amadori. On June 1st, Advanced Police Officer Chris Amadori, who is a trained member of the Crisis Intervention Team, was called at the end of his shift to a disorderly man in a hotel parking garage in downtown Savannah. The man was a paranoid schizophrenic and off his meds. He was inside a parked car. APO Amadori spoke to the man's father and coordinated a response with EMS and other officers to de-escalate the situation. He was verbally able to coax the man out of the car and into an ambulance. He even took the time, despite it being the end of his shift, to ride to the hospital with the man to continue to reassure him that no one would harm him. Chief Lumpkin has now presented him with a Medal of Merit and Service Bar to APO Chris Amadori, an honor and recognition for exemplifying exceptional devotion of duty and extraordinary acts of kindness and service above and beyond the ordinary call of duty. Congratulations. Sergeant Edward Grant and APO Jason Pagliaro. 2 years ago, the department identified a need to redesign and improve the SCMPD's website, improving functionality, transparency, and public engagement. Sergeant Edward Grant and APO Jason Pagliaro possessed the necessary knowledge, skills, and abilities to take on that task, and they exceeded expectations. They created a new website which includes interactive crime mapping, event maps, cold case pages, news releases, social media, and functions, and they continue to make those necessary changes 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, often from the comfort of their home. Chief Lumpkin is now presenting a Medal of Merit and Service Bar to Sergeant Edward Grant, an honor and recognition for exemplifying exceptional devotion in the furtherance of the law enforcement profession. Congratulations. Chief Lumpkin will now also present a Medal of Merit and Service Bar to APO Jason Pagliaro, an honor and recognition for exemplifying exceptional devotion to duty in the furtherance of the law enforcement profession. So please go check out scmpd.org. It's all their work. Next, we have Advanced Police Officer Brittany Dobbs from the downtown precinct. Last October, a man was shot in the city market area, the victim of retaliation. It was a Saturday night. Extra officers were already assigned to the area. Others were working off duty at local restaurants and bars. When the shots rang out, all the officers in the area responded. Several chased down the suspect and his friends. Others located valuable evidence, including the gun. Downtown Precinct Officer Brittany Dobbs was one of the closest officers to the shooting and the first to the victim. Despite the chaos of a large crowd and the uncertainty of more gunfire, Dobbs kneeled beside the victim, radioed for EMS, and prayed with the victim during his final moments. Chief Lumpkin has now presented the Medal of Merit and Service Bar to APO Brittany Dobbs in honor and recognition for exemplifying exceptional devotion in the furtherance of the law enforcement profession by exhibiting extraordinary acts of kindness and service above and beyond the call of duty. Officer Josh Holtz. Last October, downtown precinct officer Josh Holtz was the first officer to respond to a shooting in Yamacraw Village. Several people were running from the area. A small group was hovered over a man who had been shot. Holtz immediately began performing CPR, screaming for the victim to breathe as he tried to save the man's life. The victim was lying in filth that was on the ground, hundreds of ants around them, but that did not deter him from tending to the victim and trying to resuscitate while EMS was en route. Chief Lumpkin has now presented a Medal of Merit and Service Bar to Officer Josh Holtz in honor and recognition for exemplifying exceptional devotion to duty and extraordinary acts of kindness and service above and beyond the ordinary call of duty. Congratulations. Advanced Police Officer Otilio Rivera. This past January, a gun was stolen from a law enforcement officer's vehicle in the Berwick area, and several homeowners in the area had also been victim of entering auto crimes. West Chatham Precinct Advanced Police Officer Rivera worked late hours, even coming in on his days off to investigate these crimes. After diligent police work, he was able to convince a person with knowledge about the break-ins to sign up as a confidential informant. This informant led Rivera and other officers to the stolen gun, other stolen valuables, and the perpetrator. One suspect was linked to 5 of the break-ins. Chief Lumpkin is now presenting the Medal of Merit and Service Bar to APO Otilio Rivera in honor and recognition for exemplifying exceptional devotion in the furtherance of the law enforcement profession. Congratulations. Next, we have the Medal of Distinction. It's awarded to any officer who distinguishes themselves in the line of duty by acts of bravery not falling within the guidelines of the Medal of Valor. It includes rescues and other brave actions taken during life-threatening situations. We'll begin with retired SCMPD Detective Corey Cotton. In February of last year, Detective Cotton was working in the downtown precinct near West Boundary and Gwinnett when he saw a van parked on the side of the road near the guardrail. He stopped and saw a man pushing, shoving, and forcing a woman into the van. There was blood all over her face. He activated his blue lights and yelled for the man to stop. The man jumped in the van and sped off, leaving the woman behind. He called in other officers to pursue the van and tended to the victim. The man and woman knew each other. They had been in a relationship, and that man was trying to kidnap her. If it had not been for Detective Cotton's keen observation and investigative tuition, the suspect would have more than likely caused more serious harm to this woman, and the suspect, who is now behind bars, may have gotten away. Chief Lumpkin has now presented a Medal of Distinction and Service Bar to Detective Corey Cotton in honor and recognition for extraordinary acts of personal bravery in a life-threatening situation. Congratulations. APO Glenn Castro. Last October, during the early morning hours, APO Glenn Castro was assigned to the Violent Crimes Task Force. He was working undercover in plain clothes when he noticed a group of men breaking into cars. The two men saw Castro, not knowing he was a police officer, and confronted him, one on each side of his car. The man closest to Castro pointed a gun in his face. Castro was able to pull his gun and confront the suspect as well, but also verbally was able to de-escalate the situation. Thankfully, the suspect left. Officer Castro knew the men who had confronted him and knew where they lived, and officers were able to make an arrest. Castro was aware of the immediate threat to his life and still was able to remain calm, assess the situation, and not shoot the armed criminal. Chief Lumpkin has now presented a Medal of Distinction and Service Bar to APO Glenn Castro in honor and recognition for extraordinary acts of bravery in a life-threatening situation. Congratulations. Sergeant Chris Talley. One morning last June, around 6 a.m., Sergeant Talley from the Islands Precinct was dispatched to Wall Tower Road. A man had called 911 and said he had a gun to his head. The dispatcher could hear crying and yelling in the background, indicating someone else may be in the home. When Sergeant Talley arrived, the man came out of a camper near the home and had a gun to his head. Sergeant Talley, realizing this was a volatile and potentially dangerous situation, took cover behind a nearby tree. But he was able to talk to the man for several minutes, eventually convincing him to hand over his gun. Sergeant Talley took the loaded gun and another gun from the home for safekeeping. Chief Lumpkin has now presented the Medal of Distinction and Service Bar to Sergeant Chris Talley in honor and recognition for extraordinary acts of personal bravery in a life-threatening situation. Congratulations. Chief, you got to slow down a little bit. This one's a little longer to read. You got a little more to read on this one. You got to slow down a little bit. APO Philip Collard, APO Matthew Cross, Corporal James Little, Officer John Morris, Officer Nader Murtalui, and Corporal Brian Holler. Just last month, 2 Chatham County Sheriff's deputies were serving a warrant in Pooler when they knocked on the door. A gunman inside opened fire on the deputies, shooting one of them in the arm. The deputies retreated to their vehicle while the man was still shooting at them. They were pinned down behind their vehicle and radioed for help. The SCMPD SWAT team was immediately called in to help. They devised a plan, brought in their armored Bearcat vehicle, created a diversion, and rescued the 2 deputies. On top of that, they were able to peacefully talk the gunman out of the house and place him under arrest. This was a coordinated effort. The entire SWAT team will be receiving a unit citation next month for this. But 6 officers went above and beyond, placing themselves in danger to rescue the 2 deputies and another dozen or so Pooler and CCSO deputies who were in the line of fire. SWAT technician Corporal Brian Holler maneuvered the 8-ton armored Bearcat into place. Chief Lumpkin will now present a Medal of Distinction and Service Bar to APO Philip Collard in honor and recognition for extraordinary act of personal bravery in a life-threatening situation. You will also present a Medal of Distinction and Service Bar to APO Matthew Cross in honor and recognition for extraordinary acts of personal bravery in a life-threatening situation. Also receiving the Medal of Distinction, Corporal James Little in honor and recognition for an extraordinary act of personal bravery in a life-threatening situation. Also a Medal of Distinction and Service Bar to Officer John Morris in honor and recognition for extraordinary acts of personal bravery in a life-threatening situation. Officer Morris and Officer Meritorious are two of the newest members on the team. This was only their second major incident since joining the SWAT team, but did not hesitate to help. Chief Lumpkin is now presenting a Medal of Distinction and Service Bar to Officer Nader Meritorious in honor and recognition for extraordinary acts of personal bravery in a life-threatening situation. And the driver of that 8-ton vehicle who had to maneuver to get it on scene and to get it in place where it needed to be, Corporal Holler, also receiving the Medal of Distinction. Next, we will have the Chief's Award of Excellence. It's awarded to any SCMPD officer or civilian employee for the performance of duty that deserves extraordinary recognition. Discretion for these actions deemed appropriate for receiving this award shall rest with the Chief of Police, but typically involve performance above and beyond the call of duty and far exceed what is expected. And to present those awards is Chief Lumpkin.
Thank you, ma'am. The first honoree is for the Chief's Award is APO Philip Collard. Will you return to the stage? Advanced Police Officer Philip Collard joined the Savannah-Chatham Metropolitan SWAT team 5 years ago, and in 2013 became one of 3 team leaders. As you have heard a few minutes ago, he was one of the key members on the team who helped rescue the 2 sheriff's deputies. When the officer down call was heard over the police radios, and officers rushed to Pula to help, APO Collard took over the situation, calmed the friends' radio traffic, and began coordinating SWAT and other units arriving. He also developed an action plan. He hastily assembled a SWAT team and led them in rescuing the deputies. He exhibited a professionalism, a decisiveness, a confident manner, and great leadership in taking control of the situation. His character, competency, and integrity led it to a peaceful resolution to that standoff and other volatile situations over the years. I am proud to award APO Philip Collard with the Chief's Award of Excellent Service. APO Chase Coswell, will you come to the stage? In March of last year, advanced police officer Chase Carswell was assigned by the Savannah-Chatham Metropolitan Police Department as liaison with the U.S. Marshal Service Southeastern Regional Fugitive Task Force, which you've heard of in the last few days, picking up 144 people here, 14 murderers in the last 6 weeks. Not all from Savannah-Chatham even now. A bunch of those were hiding out down here. But you know they were not going to work every day either. They were preying on folks. The idea of embedding Chase within the Marshal Service was to allow both agencies to use each other's resources, cut through red tape, and act faster to apprehend the worst of the worst, tracking down fugitives on a local, state, and national level. Also, they tracked down them on international level. Since Carswell joined the Marshals, he's closed 71 cases, getting murderers, robbers, drug dealers, rapists, etc., and other violent criminals behind bars. Just last month, Carswell and his hard-working members of the Marshal team arrested a person for the Christmas Day homicide in Savannah. He was hiding out in Beaufort County. I purposely don't call their names. I don't think their name ought to be called, the individual that he arrested. The marshals described Carswell as being driven, self-motivated, and a natural at hunting down fugitives and bad guys. It is because of Carswell's competency, character, and commitment to improving public safety in this community, in this area, in this state, that I am proud to present him with the Chief's Award of Excellent Service. The third person that we want to recognize is Michelle Gavin. In 2013, Mrs. Gavin was recruited by the Savannah-Chatham Metropolitan Police Department to become its community relations administrator. She has served as the primary advisor to the Chief of Police for developing overall internal and external communication strategies. This responsibility includes rebuilding the department's image with the media, the community, and our stakeholders. Michelle serves as the primary liaison and spokesperson with the business community and tourist industry for the Savannah-Chatham Metropolitan Police Department. Additionally, she has worked purposefully and tirelessly to establish as well as sustain a new branding and marketing strategy for our department. This effort informed the community of the Savannah-Chatham Metropolitan Police Department rebuilding effort and its foundation on character and competence standards, and that we are going to return to the great Savannah-Chatham Police Department that we know we deserve as citizens and we have experienced over the years. That effort resulted in the Savannah-Chatham Metropolitan Police Department employing 126 officers during 2015, more than twice the amount of officers employed either in 2013 or 2014, and reducing the attrition rate from approximately 17% plus over the past 5 years to, in the last 6 months, less than 5%. Mrs. Gavin directs all social media and website content. She frequently designs and writes publications, newsletters, reports, brochures, ceremony programs as well as produces recruiting, and community outreach videos. Her outcomes have truly boosted the morale of our internal people and community outreach participation. She has recruited and worked with many of the business people in terms of them actually assisting us in strategies to reach our targeted groups for recruitment and retention. More importantly, Mrs. Gavin's efforts has tremendously assisted the Savannah-Chatham Metropolitan Police Department in return to the road of trust and legitimacy with our citizens, and that is why I'm proud to present Michelle Gavin with our outstanding Chiefs, for her outstanding work, the Chiefs Award of Excellence. I got it right this time. She put some mark up here for me to stand on. I was going to give up. Our final Chiefs Award goes to Miss Tanya Maltsevi. Miss Tanya, coming from the rear. Please come forward. Mrs. Tanya Maltsevi joined the Savannah-Chatham Metropolitan Police Department in 2011 as an administrative assistant, first in the Criminal Investigation Division, then moved to the Patrol South Division, which oversees, at that time, oversaw 3 precincts. A year ago, her workload increased significantly when we consolidated the Patrol Division, and no longer did she just have 3 patrol districts, she took on all 5. So the entire patrol. She was responsible for preparing essential documents critical to meeting the needs of the precinct commanders and the patrol commander. In addition, she is responsible for assisting the intelligence unit and the undercover narcotics investigative team with their personnel tracking and administrative needs. Tanya also manages the Savannah-Chatham Metropolitan Police Department's recreational fund, which maintains the police camp for agency and community events. Mrs. Maltsevi's great work ethic and vast knowledge of patrol has helped her and the police department have a seamless transition to as new commanders have come into that division due to either retirement or illness, etc. She also was the civilian within the agency, one of the first civilians within the agency to be selected to attend the International Association of Chiefs of Police Leadership in Police Organization course in 2015. She is a true professional, dedicated to doing the job the right way the first time and ensuring every task is properly completed. Her dedication and devotion to the department is a prime example for others to follow and emulate. Therefore, it is my privilege and pleasure to honor her with the Chiefs Award of Excellence for her service and work.
Good morning. Yeah, Valerie. No. Next is our Medal of Valor. This is awarded to any SCMPD officer for demonstrating exceptional bravery in order to alleviate emergency conditions in an extremely dangerous situation. The act must be in excess of normal demands and of such a nature that the officer was fully aware of the imminent threat to his or her personal safety and acted above and beyond the call of duty at the risk of loss of life. Our first recipient was not able to be here today, APO Will Fernandez. He is away at canine training and will be receiving the award at a later date. Our next Medal of Valor recipients are Officers John Haber, Officer Daniel Kang, Corporal Ruben Colon, and Officer Michael Gonzalez. During the early morning hours of October 28, 2015, Corporal Ruben Colon and Officer Michael Gonzalez, Daniel Kang, and John Haber were assigned to the SCMPD's Violent Crime Task Force. Officers volunteer to be a part of this task force, which seeks out the city's most violent offenders. They respond to the worst situations at the worst times of day with the worst criminals. The 4 officers conducted a traffic stop on West 36th Street and Ogeechee Road for a simple traffic violation. Kang and Haber were riding in one marked patrol car. Colon and Gonzalez were riding together in the second marked car. All 4 officers exited their vehicle. They were in a police uniform and approached the car. There was 1 occupant. They identified themselves as officers and asked the driver for his license and insurance. The driver complied, and Kang began running the driver's information. At this point, Colon noticed the driver reaching for something in the car. He told the driver to keep his hands where he could see him. The driver made a sudden lunge inside the car and retrieved a handgun. The driver exited the car and fired at officers. Colon and Gonzalez were both hit. Now Officers Gonzalez and Colon were on the ground, bleeding and in a great deal of pain. Both Haber and Kang had prior active duty military service and are both trained combat first aid and treating field trauma injuries. Both officers had also beefed up first aid kits in their cars. They removed the officers' gun belts so they could get to the officers' wounds and began rendering first aid. They used Quick Clot, which rapidly stopped the bleeding, applied tourniquets, and dressed the wounds. Kang and Haber had both officers stabilized before EMS even arrived. So once EMTs were on scene, they immediately loaded the officers into the ambulance and took them to the hospital. All 4 officers displayed bravery in the face of grave danger in this very tumultuous situation and did not hesitate or falter and confronted and treated their fellow officer. The Chief has now presented Medal of Valor and Valor Service Bars to Officers John Haber, Officer Daniel Kang, Officer Michael Gonzalez, and Corporal Ruben Colon. Congratulations. Scoot down a little. No, we gotta get. Congratulations, guys. Now, if Corporal Ruben Colon and Officer Michael Gonzalez could remain on the stage. Officer Ruben Colon was one of the officers who was shot. He was hit in the hip, a through-and-through gunshot wound. He was on medical leave for 2 months recovering from the traumatic ordeal. Chief Lumpkin will now present the Purple Heart Medal and Service Bar to Corporal Ruben Colon in honor and recognition of injuries he sustained while in the performance of his official duties as a law enforcement officer under honorable circumstances. Congratulations. Officer Michael Gonzalez was also shot by the gunman in the hip area, the bullet exiting his back. Chief Lumpkin will now present the Purple Heart Medal and Service Bar to Officer Michael Gonzalez in honor and recognition of the injuries he sustained while in the performance of his official duties as a law enforcement officer under honorable circumstances. At this time, Chief would just like to make a few final comments.
I don't think you can really make comments after what you've heard, the bravery, the valor that these men and women and the professionalism that they, civilian and sworn, demonstrate daily. And these are not the only ones within that police department that demonstrate great professionalism and character. We've got a great base of officers. We are proud of them as citizens of this city, this county, this state, and this region. They are the base for the Savannah-Chatham Metropolitan Police Department to go forward in the future. Thank you for what you do. Thank you for, again, for investing your time as citizens, relatives, and other officers for coming here and recognizing our people. Godspeed.
I would like to thank Mr. Mark Spadoni, the general manager here at the Westin Savannah Harbor Golf Resort and Spa. His generosity has made today's ceremony and luncheon possible. For the past 3 years now, his staff has worked very diligently to provide this ceremony at no cost to the Savannah-Chatham Metropolitan Police Department to offer these amazing officers, civilians, and citizens among us. Mr. Spadoni is also a founding member of the SCMPD's Police Foundation. So he is not here with us, but if you see him, please tell him thank you on our behalf for making this ceremony possible. Also, before we have the final prayer, I also want to let you know the pictures from today will be available. They'll be on our Facebook page later today. Also, any officers can contact myself or Officer Megan Whitfield, and we'll get you copies from today's ceremony if you'd like a high-resolution photo and not one from Facebook. So please check out our Facebook page later today. And it is my pleasure to welcome again our chaplain, the Reverend Bill Gardner, for a final prayer.
Let us pray. Again, we thank you, Heavenly Father, for the opportunity to honor these who have distinguished themselves in service. Enable us as we leave this place to carry forth this prayer into the coming week, turning our thoughts toward charity, our hearts towards justice, and our hands toward the work of peace. And now may the Lord bless you and keep you. May the Lord make his face to shine upon you and be gracious unto you. May the Lord lift up his countenance upon you and give you his peace. Amen.
A couple of closing comments. There is cake in the back, so if you would, any of the kids in the room, or if you would like a piece of cake, or the officers, there's cake in the back. I'd like to thank Corporal Chris Boyette and Officer Megan Whitfield over here who helped me put everything together today, so thank you very much to them, as well as the two cadets in the back of the room helping us get everything organized, as well as Training Director Gary Taylor and the rest of his staff. So a lot of work goes into the ceremony, and I could not do it without them. So please give them a round of applause. This concludes our ceremony. If any of the officers or recipients would like to come and take other pictures in front of our backdrop or on the stage, you're welcome to, and please stay and enjoy each other's company. Thank you.